Imagine finding a piece of your family's history that could shed some light or even tell a story that has never been told. The Gallipoli Association in the UK has found this leather-bound book full of sketches, notes and photos of Australian soldiers who were treated in a London hospital during the First World War. And the owners of the book are now searching for relatives of these soldiers. And two of them were Anzac soldiers from central Victoria, Trooper Richard Henry Gook of Bridgewater and Private Percival Reuban Carne from Bendigo. Let's find out a bit more about the search to kind of track down the families of these soldiers, descendants, relatives. We're now joined by a historian from the Gallipoli Association from all the way over in the UK, Stephen Chalmers. Good morning, our time.
Good morning, Fiona. Or actually, good evening from the UK.
Yes, you've stayed up late for us. What time is it there?
Oh, it's not too bad. It's just after 10 o'clock at night, so it's still early.
That's all right. Well, thank you so much for the chat in advance. Tell us a little bit more about this book and this project to kind of find these soldiers who are featured in it.
Yeah, sure. Well, we were contacted by one of our members who found it was actually a superb sort of leather album, which is his mother's, and it's been with the family for many, many years. And he's got a military interest and started reading through this, and it's absolutely jam-packed with signatures and autographs and drawings from Australian soldiers from the First World War. And all of these appear to be Australians who served in Gallipoli, wounded in Gallipoli and shipped back to the UK at the latter end of 1915 to recover from their wounds. And it's just absolutely jam-packed with history. So what we're trying to do is, if we can do, sort of unite or try and find family members if they're still out there, and just sort of make that connection back to their loved ones. What is it? Over 100 years ago.
Amazing. Some of the I've had a little sneak peek of copies of some of the things that are in this book, and some of the drawings are just gorgeous that were done by these soldiers who were recovering or being treated for war wounds in the London hospital at the time. Tell us a bit more about what the book contains.
Yeah, well, it's a multitude of different signatures. It's quite an interesting album in its own right, and during the turn of the century, it was quite common, I think, for sort of young women, sort of middle class, some upper class, to keep these albums of autographs, and they would go around to people of sort of notoriety, etc., to take autographs. And of course, the World War came along, and Australian soldiers, New Zealand soldiers, British soldiers, were all quite new in these places in London. So lots of got autographs. Some of these young women, and we believe it's some of members, it would be his great-great-aunt, I believe, or possibly great-great-grandmother, who was probably only 12, 13 years old at the time. But what we believe is she probably collected sort of money and funds, part of a charity for the wounded soldiers at the time, which was quite common in the UK, I think quite common in Australia as well. And as part of collecting the funds, these soldiers would sort of autograph and draw little sketches and cartoons. And some, as you say, are quite amazing. There's quite a lot of artistic talent there from these soldiers who had, previously fought in Gallipoli.
Are there any that particularly stand out to you?
Well, some of the local ones are quite interesting. So I think you mentioned Trooper Richard Henry Gook, who's quite interesting. He went out to Gallipoli with a light horse, and he served, I think, from around May, June 1915. He got wounded out there in August, just after the big August attack. Famous for some of the Australian actions at Lone Pine, and the Neck, which some of your listeners, may be aware of. But quite interesting is his wound was a wound in the foot, and it sort of transpired that it was a self-inflicted wound. So quite amazing to understand what was actually going through his head at the time. And he was sort of shipped back. He was court-martialed. He wasn't shot, which was a penalty at the time for British soldiers. But another story for another day. The Australians were not shot during the First World War for lots of good reasons. And he got shipped to the UK. He got treated for his wounds. Picked up TB, it sounds like, and eventually sort of repatriated to Australia. And I understand sort of lived into the 1970s, back in the state of Victoria. So I think he could have been a Bendigo man as well. So a little bit more research we need to do on him.
Yes. And that's the thing. That's the whole point of this project, isn't it? These are soldiers who were at the 3rd London General Hospital in Wandsworth during World War One. So you're kind of looking for information. You're trying to find relatives. So you know who these men are. You've got some idea of at least some of them?
Yes. So what's actually fantastic is the military records the Australian War Memorial has in Canberra has all the service records. So we're digging deeper into those to try and find a little bit about their history. But it would be great if you have any listeners, if they go on to the website, Gallipoli-association.org, or if they just search for the Gallipoli Association. We have it on our news page, and there's a whole list of different soldiers' names there. And it would be fantastic if we can, link some of those names with people who still live in the area. And it would be wonderful to get in contact with them, and take a good high-quality scan and actually share some of the drawings and autographs from, the family members at the time.
What was that website again, Stephen?
It is www.gallipoli-association.org, O-R-G. But if you just Google Gallipoli Association, it should come up on the first page.
Wow. Well, we do wish you luck. We'll certainly keep in touch with you as well, because it is so interesting to us to look locally and hear about something that's happening over in London where you're going, we want to find these men. So Trooper Richard Henry Gook of Bridgewater, Private Percival Reuban Carne of Bendigo. The Bendigo RSL let us know that they were donated Percival's camera, but they have no more information. So, yes, they're even now very curious about the project that you're doing. And so just to reiterate this, it's an A5 leather-bound book. And were you approached by the family of the person whose book it was? Or how did this all come about, this search?
Yes, we were. So we were approached by the person who sort of reached out to us just because of the volume of Gallipoli-related names in there. So we put something onto social media, and you know how great that is. And we've had an enormous response coming back with bits and pieces of information coming in, which is absolutely fantastic, because sometimes you hear nothing, but it's absolutely amazing that, this has stirred great interest around the world, mainly in Australia. So, yeah, we're really excited to, learn more from relations if there are still out there. And again, sort of put more onto the website as this story grows over, hopefully, the next sort of coming days and weeks.
Well, we'll certainly keep in touch. Thank you for telling us about it, Stephen, and enjoy your evening in the UK. Are you in London?
Yes, just south of London, between London and Brighton on the south coast. So we're enjoying lovely sunny weather.
Yeah. Well, I saw it was raining in Birmingham. I saw on the news, our news last night, there was a bit of shower activity over the athletics track in Birmingham.
Oh, yes.
Is all the talk in the UK about the Commonwealth Games? Are you all excited about it?
We are really excited. What we're not too excited about is I think Australia are winning at the moment in the medal table. So we have to do some fighting back.
Yes, we are well ahead of you. But look, we're working together on this project to help you out.
Of course. It's all fun at the end of the day. Healthy competition.
Well, no competitive rivalry between us and the Gallipoli Association in the UK. Thank you, Stephen. Appreciate that. And as I said, enjoy your evening over there in the UK. It is 22 minutes past 7. If you've been listening to this and you know something you'd like to share with us this morning, if you are a descendant or relative of one of those soldiers that we're talking about whose work features in this book, call in 1300 813 911.
On ABC Central Victoria, you're with Fiona Parker.